Hello, and welcome to another great segment of Feeling Good and Teaching. I have a special guest for you guys today. Her name is Candace, and she is an amazing coach that's out here helping many people think about how they want to live their best life. You do not want to miss this.
To see people find healing, not only just emotionally, but spiritually. A lot of times people are dealing with emotional struggles or sometimes even mental struggles because of maybe something that's spiritual that happened.
Yeah.
Sometimes maybe they're having questions about God. God, why did you allow this to happen to my loved one? This way, I'll explain it in this way. So a counselor focuses on your past. So they kind of go back to see where your trauma was, you know, the pain that you're dealing with that is affecting you in the present. So they go backward to help you with the present. And then a life coach, they're not really concerned with the past. It's more so about the present so they can get you to your future. So yeah, that's really the difference there. So if you need a counselor, I think that's a lot of where I find myself in a cycle, or I feel like I can't get past this thing, or maybe whenever you reflect on something, you feel like you can't move on, even though that was in the past. So I think if you're thinking a lot about the past, more than likely it's counseling related. Also, if you're feeling a lot of different emotions that you feel like, okay, why am I responding like this? That's counseling related. But if it's life coaching, for example, let's say you feel, I have this goal in mind. I want to start this business, or I really want to improve my relationship or something like that. And I just think we just need some practical steps or something like that. That's a life coach, because how to communicate better. Because a lot of times when we're communicating something, we know what we said, but the person who is listening to us only gathered what they heard and not what we meant. So it really, it addresses things like that. It also addresses things about when you're in a tango. They call it a tango, which is like conflict, how to handle conflict. And it talks about how the mind works in those situations, how the feelings work, how when we are in conflict, we begin to talk and share things that we don't really mean, but because our mind or our feelings are kind of in that moment, it teaches us how to kind of deflate that moment and to really maximize that moment. So if you're trying to heal this moment of a tango, what they say is allowing one person to talk and the other person to listen. And they say if you're the listener, they say do not judge the person what they're saying, allow them to vent, because as they vent, the stomach will begin to it'll get smaller. Everything will kind of go back to normal, with the, based on the diagram that's talking about. So when you're in the listening, and they have a card too, so the card will show who's the talker, the other side is who's the listener, and what you should do if you're the listener, what you should do if you're the talker. And so the listener is there to allow the person to, let off the steam, not to become offended by what is said. And even if you are, know that when it's your turn to talk, I think it really boils down to allowing each person to say what they do have to say, and understanding that they are not, at this point, they are inflated, you could say. And so if you do hear something that maybe you didn't like, understand that they're not necessarily in the space where they would have said otherwise. Maybe it could be a relationship issue, or maybe some social things going on there as well. So I think it really varies person to person. But I think it's really about just understanding how to handle conflict. It could be that in the past they tried to handle a conflict and it didn't end well, and so they'd rather not deal with it any longer, just because they're thinking about how it was handled in a different situation. Once you're in, I think again that goes back to self-reflection, listening to yourself. And taking that time, because so many times in our lives, we have so many things going on. We're looking at our phone, social media, TV, we're going from one thing to the next, and we never took out time to reflect. And so I think that's really important, to have that space, that quiet time to sit and listen to what is really going on in the soul. So